So we have done Linux installation, and we have installed it on a virtual cross virtual platform, that is your VirtualBox. And let us see how the booting process of Linux is. And this is the same what we have discussed in the lectures also. The same process happens. The first thing is that the power on self test takes place. It checks all your hardware components, whether proper supply uh, is is there with them or not, whether all those components are connected and connected with the system or not. If some device is missing, let's say your storage is missing, your mem from where your operating system has to be loaded up, or your main memory to which your operating system or all your programs has to be loaded up, if they are missing, so it will inform the user on this particular stage, on the very first stage, on the power on self test, that this particular component is missing. So when you switch on your computer, you can see there is a small light in your mouse and your keyboards, and there's some light on in your inside your CPUs as well. So basically it checks your power, all your components are in place or not. So after your power on self test, what happens? Your basic input output system, your BIOS, which is residing in your ROMs, over there, it will find the BIOS will look for your master boot record. Okay, it will initialize your hardware, your CPU registers, your main memory, and what will it do? It will look out, because at this point of time CPU has nothing to execute, so it is looking for some program to be in its main memory. So right at this time main memory is empty, so it needs something to execute. So what the BIOS will do, it will locate your master boot record, okay, your MBR. And what will it do? That MBR contains your bootstrap program or your bootloader program, and also it contains your partitions, the partition table entries, and the partition which is having that boot signature with it, that is your operating system files has to be loaded from this particular partition. Okay, so your master boot record is located, we have discussed this in lectures also, that it is in the first sector of your hard disk. Okay, and once your bootstrap loader has been located in your master boot record, the bootstrap loader gets loaded into your main memory. Okay, so in Linux your bootstrap loader is your grand unified bootloader, grub bootloader. Okay, so this is the bootloader program for Linux. And once your master boot, inside your master boot record, your bootstrap program or your bootloader has been located, it gets loaded into the main memory. And once it is loaded into the main memory, the CPU starts executing your bootstrap program or your bootloader program. So that bootloader program contains instructions, okay, how to load your operating system, okay, how to load your operating system from your secondary storage, okay, from your hard disk, on the partition where the installation files for the operating system are located. So the bootstrap loader, once it starts executing the instructions of bootstrap loader starts executing, so it will start loading these instructions. What they will do, they will start loading up the installation files in the main memory, uh, in your operating system files. So at this point of time, what is being loaded up into the main memory is your kernel of the operating system is getting loaded in the main memory at this point of time. Okay, so once the kernel has been loaded into the main memory, and what the operating system will do, it will start executing it. And once that execution is completed, your operating system has completely started running at that point of time. Okay, so once it is running, the kernel of the operating system is running. Okay, so the first process that it will run is your init process. Okay, so this init process has some run levels with it. Okay, there are some levels, level 0, level 1, level 3, level 4, level 5, level 6, up to 6 run levels are there. So 0 is your halted state, 6 is your reboot state, your 3 run level 3 basically defines your load your system in a text mode, okay, text only mode. So these run levels basically define the state, the configuration, or we can call the state up to which your operating system has to be loaded. Okay, so when we load our operating system, when the operating system starts loaded, it is loaded up to a particular state, whether that state is a halted state, whether that state is a reboot state, whether that state is a text only state, okay, whether that state is a graphical user interface, uh, okay, single user graphical user interface state, or multi-user graphical user interface state. So who is going to decide? These particular run levels will decide. So for example, your run level 5 is basically your multi-user graphical user interface state. So when the operating system is loaded, so you are shown a screen where there are where they ask where they show a particular list of the users of this particular operating system. Okay, so there can be one user, there can be more than one user. So, and if that interface is graphical, so it means that we have loaded our operating system to a state which is a multi-user graphical user interface, and the run level value for that is 5. Okay, so we will see that run level 5. So init process starts, and it starts executing the run levels. So once it is started, the user is prompted to enter commands. Okay, so user can interact with the operating system. It can interact with the input output of with the IO, with the memory, and start running its own commands. Okay, so this is the whole process. And when this process starts, this init process starts, it also loads your operating system, your system programs, your other application programs. We have seen this also in your programs. So so once the operating system has been loaded, we need to load other programs which are explicitly installed on our operating system right now. So these programs, application programs, and some system programs also needs to be installed. So once this is done, this part is done, so all of these programs also get loaded up in the main memory. Okay, and if they are running, the user can interact with them, with these programs. So this is the same process which we have discussed in the class also, the booting process. The Linux bootloader is called grub, grand unified bootloader. Okay, so let us quickly go through today we will be doing the commands, basic Linux commands. And before that, we will have a small introduction on the Linux directory structure. uh, and in Unix, the user is basically interacting with files. Okay, and those files, they contain data, they contain some text, these contain some programs, and they are contained in further. These files are stored in some directories. Okay, so there are many directories, and they store different type of data. Okay, so in Unix, your directories are arranged in a hierarchical order. Okay, there is a hierarchy. At the top of this hierarchy is the root directory. Okay, so root is the directory which from under which all other directories are lie. So root is the top of the hierarchy of your file system, and everything starts from the root. Okay, another is your bin slash. This is a forward slash. Okay, you simply look at the upper tip over here. If it is forward, then it is forward. That if the upper tip is backward, then it is a backward slash. Many times it is confusing to know whether this is forward or backward slash. So this is a forward slash. Okay, so forward slash bin, directory basically contains your system binaries and other executable programs. So if you have some program, that program is compiled, and binaries and your object files, your binaries are created so that your machine can understand those files. Then machine can execute those files, because your machine only understands 0 and 1. So all your system binary files and other executable programs, binary files, your 0 and 1s, the files that contain zeros and ones are stored in your slash bin file. Okay. /etc. So this is your system configuration files. So if you have to do some settings with your in your system, so all your system settings are stored in your /etc. For example, your run level is also one of the settings to decide from which run level uh, I need to install my operating system to. So you can see uh, your init process, your run levels basically execute from your etc directory. Okay, // etc directory. So your all your system configuration files are stored in your /etc directory // home. So this is your basically your home directory. So basically your home directory contains all the user related data, users personal data, user personal files, and its own data. So whenever the system has logged in and a user has logged in, so all that user related information is by default stored in which directory? Your home directory. So if I have created, let's say, a user, a student, so that student will be stored, the data associated with that user will be stored in what? /home/student directory. Okay, under that directory you can have for example, right now my system. Okay, so my system name is okay, Wygrew to PC. This is just a name I've kept it. So this particular user is having its own the files over here. It has its own documents. It has its own my music, pictures, and videos. Okay, so all of these are there. So this data is associated with the user of this particular OS. So if I create, for example, another directory, another user, let's say a teacher user. Okay, so that teacher user will be created in /home/teacher. Okay, so one user cannot access the data of another user. So uh, so that is under a different directory. Okay, so and the teacher /home/teacher directory will be containing its own personal directories, let's say desktop data, downloads, uh, your documents, your music files, your text files, audio files, any personal data. Okay, so all of this is stored in home directory /opt. So this is for your third party softwares which are not bundled with your operating system. So all those files are installation files are stored in your /opt directory over here, and there is a /temp folder. This is used to store your temporary data. So your kernel can keep your temporary data in /temp directory, and whenever your system reboots or starts, when you have booted your system, basically it starts in the kernel mode, and when it is started, then this particular space is wiped out and for new temporary data. Okay, so at reboot this data is cleared because this is a temporary data. So /user, this directory basically contains any user related programs. If I have some program to run, if I have any program which I want to execute, so I can keep it in /user. So once that program is there and I want to compile it, so after compilation, the binary file or the executable files will be created. So they are going to be further stored in the another directory, which is your subdirectory under user. For example, slash user bin, we have discussed bin contains your binary and executable programs. So if a user related program is there, it will be there in user and its binaries will be stored in slash bin. Okay, so it is a subdirectory under your user directory. There is another slash var, which is used to store your variables data, and your all your variables are stored in your forward slash var directory. Slash boot, uh, which stores your files that are needed to boot your operating system. So, and slash dev for your device related files, uh, all those files which are controlled by your operating system related to that particular device will be stored in slash forward slash dev directory over here. And why we are discussing all of these directories, because when we will be running our commands, we will be getting our outputs in the form of in some of the outputs will be form of these directories, these paths. Okay, so at that time we must know if slash home slash user is being, for example, we have talked about student user. So if the output of some command is slash home slash student, so what does that mean? Means what does that output mean? So we must know that we are talking about the this particular directory or your current directory, which is home slash student directory. So if we are referring slash etc, and if we have find some file and it has let's say I want to find some file, and that file and the output of that command, of that find command, has returned me something like forward slash etc. So what does that mean? So we must know that the location of that file is under, it is an system configuration file which we are finding, and it is there in your slash etc directory. Okay, so let us discuss about your Linux commands. First of all, uh, let us, like, I have created my user as just over here. Okay, so, what I have done is I have opened a terminal over here, and in this and a terminal is basically a window inside which your shell is basically running, and this is the point where which has been, this is a place, or we can say virtual location which has been allocated to this particular user to interact with with the shell and the kernel of the operating system, and further uh, with the IO device such as memory or your memory disks. Okay, so this is the terminal, and inside the terminal the shell is running, and this shell, we have we know that shell is basically a command interpreter. It is a program which is going to interpret whatever we are going to write over here in this over here, in this line over here, or any text which I'm going to write. It will interpret this as a command, and that command will be after interpretation will be sent to the kernel for execution, and we will be seeing the output. Okay, so commands are basically your text that you enter or you write inside the terminal, and shell further interpret those commands and give you the output. So the commands over here are case sensitive. Please remember, the commands are case sensitive over here. So let us discuss the command structure. Okay, what is the command structure? So the Linux command consists of the command name, some set of options. Okay, some set of options uh, are there, and further some set of input parameters, or we can say some input arguments over here. for the command. So this command is so we have three components: your command, some set of options. These options basically modify the behavior of the command. Okay, so they are going to be change the way how the shell is going to interpret this command. Okay, so this is basically to modify the output of your command or your behavior of the command. So we can see they are separated by space over here, and these options basically consist of some alphabets or your letters, and they are preceded by a hyphen sign. Okay, a minus sign or a hyphen sign over here, and they can be one option, there can be multiple options in a single command statement. Okay, and then further by some space we can give some input to this particular command. That input can be a file name, some variable name. Okay, so based upon which the command is going to operate on that particular input. Okay, depending upon the on the uh, what this particular command does. Okay, so this is basically your command structure over here. And when you enter this command, this command is going when you enter this command, what your shell does is shell looks search for this command in the particular path, or we can say uh, it will find the location where the executable for this particular command, or the we can say the program where is the program file for this particular command is located. And when this command is being executed, it is going to refer that particular program or executable from that particular path. So whenever we enter a command, it is going to search a particular path and look for whether that the command is the file associated with that command is basically on the path or not, on some set of paths that we have discussed. Some set of that path basically contains the directories, list the directories where to look for that particular command file and execute that file from that particular path. Okay, so over here we are going to execute uh, your commands uh, uh, in a different manner, I mean, in the sense that each command behaves differently. It can have some set of options. We can run the commands with some options and arguments. We can also run the command simply by command name. Okay, we can skip the options and input parameters also. Okay, so each command behaves differently. We will be initially running commands without any option and without any input parameters, and then I will introduce some and then we will execute commands with along with options and input parameters. Okay, and if you see these commands these options over here have some short form letters, and they can have a long form format also, and we'll discuss this thing when we execute commands. So there are exceptions also to this particular command structure, in that that some commands do not take any options or any inputs, and some commands take some options and input parameters. They run with along with some input parameters. They cannot run simply by typing the command. We need some input parameters, but some commands do not require any options and any input parameters. Okay, so we will discuss this thing when we start executing our commands. So this is our terminal, and inside this terminal shell is running, and we are going to enter commands over here. Okay, so let us enter our first command, that is, let's say, a date command simply. Okay, so remember, these commands are case sensitive. So date over here is used to show the date and time in format which is used over the internet. So right now we are in, so if I simply enter date over here, okay, so right now I've entered this command, and what the shell has done is it has interpreted this command, okay, and searched this command, okay. First of all, it will locate this command at a particular, search this command at a particular path, okay. It will search whether this command is on a some, is there, is present in some directory or not. The file for this particular command is there in some particular directory or not. After finding this file, it will start executing that file. So after interpreting it and executing it, we get this particular output over here. So what it has returned, this command has returned me the current day, date, month, year, and timestamp, and this is in Indian Standard Time over here, okay. So we have talked about that this is, if I do like this, so it says this command cannot be found. Where it cannot be found? In that particular path. Okay. So that path doesn't contain a command by the capital DATE. Okay. So you need to enter the command with this. You have to be very particular with your command because it is case sensitive. So if you do capital date, so it will say that command has not been found, okay. So this is what I was talking about, that we can run commands without options also, without input parameters also, and we can run commands with options also. For example, date minus u. So minus u is space, your hyphen, and u. So this is one of the options that are associated with this date command. So what it is going to do, so it is going to return, we have if you simply write date, so what it is going to do, it is going to return your time based upon your universal coordinated time, your UTC time, which is your primary time standard by which your world clocks and times are regulated, okay, which you can say your Greenwich Mean Time based upon that. So this output, when you simply run the date command, the output was according to IST. But with option, when you are running with option, it has modified, it has modified the, what it has modified, the behavior of this command, okay. So the output is different, obviously. So these options are modify the behavior of these commands. So if you write, okay, so this is basically these options come in two forms. You can give options in two forms to a particular command. Number one, short form, in the short form manner you can give, like right now only the alphabet is given. You can also give it in the long form. In case of long form, you have double hyphen and write universal, okay. So you can see the output is same, the output is same over here, okay. It is also, this option has is also giving me the same output, but the option is in the long form. Over here the option is in the short form over here. So you can see there are some options which are in short form, and you can also give the options in the long form manner. So after entering the command, you can see the after the shell has interpreted it and execute, and the command has been executed, the control comes back to this dollar prompt. Okay, we have not discussed this thing, okay. In the beginning we have what, this prompt over here. So what it is providing you some information over here, okay. This is providing you some information. So what kind of information? It is giving you the user who is using this particular terminal or machine, and on which machine, the machine name. When you install your Linux, you must have given machine name. This user name was given when we were installing Linux. So the machine name on which we are working, and colon, and over here tilde represents that we are currently working in, we are currently working in the home directory. So remember, we have talked about that your home directory basically contains your user information, okay. So over here over here, so over here, your tilde basically represents your what? Your home directory, and dollar is your prompt, and it is basically asking the user to enter what some commands. Okay, from this point forward, you simply enter some commands. So tilde represents your home directory. Okay, so this home, so we have said that everything starts from where? From the root. Okay, if over here instead of tilde there has been a forward slash, okay, and then dollar sign, then in that case we can come to know that right now we are in the root directory. Okay, so everything starts from the root, and from the root over here. Okay, so how to identify if is this is a forward slash over here? So right now we are not in the root directory, but inside the root directory or under the root directory we are in the home directory, and under the home directory this user directory is existing by the name just you must have created your own directory, let's say student, by your own name. So when you will be seeing your prompt, you will be seeing the username and the machine name by your names. Okay, so this is your prompt over here. Okay, so let us come back to your date command. So we were talking about uh, short form options, long form options, and we can modify this the output of this command. So for example, let us do what? Date minus d. Okay, today is 18 August 2020. Okay, and I want you to modify it to uh, year is equal to is equal to. Okay, I have written this command. uh, I am going to modify this. I want my date to be modified to this particular output. I want to see when I execute this command. So what does it do? So instead of giving me this particular format, okay, so I want my output to be like this, that you give this date to me, 18 August 2020, as what? Year, first year equal to percentage y. We will discuss these when these are some uh, uh, special string characters. We will discuss this when we talk about your man command. Okay, so it these options have some specific meaning in the command. Okay, so when the shell interprets uh, these characters, percentage y, some percentage, let's say some any other character, so it knows that this with some value has been associated with this particular. You have to read a specific content and give the output in that particular format. So over here, percentage y is basically going to return the full year of the current year. Okay, so percentage m for month, it is going to return month of the year, and percentage d as the date. So it has given me this particular option. So over here, this is case sensitive, everything is case sensitive. So if I do like this, if I change this small uh, capital Y to small y, what it does it do? It has changed, interpreted, the meaning has changed. Okay, because in this particular command, date command, this small y is having a different meaning. It means that you simply return the last two characters of the year and not the full year. So you can modify your output of your command. So there are many options which how to see these options, we will discuss this right now. uh, but let us see some other options. This particular command also accept some string values. For example, you can do date minus d. uh, just okay, Tomorrow, what is tomorrow? Okay, so it is returning in 19 August. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Okay, so I can do what? Yes, so it is returning. Yesterday was 17. Okay, I can do next year. Okay, what is the next year? Okay, from this point of, from this 17, from today is 18, and the next year is 18 August 2021. Okay, what is next month? So it is going to return uh, next month over here. Okay, next month is September from the current date. Okay, what is next year? We have already done. Okay, next week we can do. So next week is coming week is 25th August 2020, and it is all returning in Indian Standard Time. Okay, so you can modify this based on the simple command we have learned is date. Okay, so let us do man command. Okay, let us do man command. So man is basically this command is used to view the reference manual for this command. So uh, we cannot remember all these options. How to know that what particular option is associated with the particular date with a particular command. So to know more about a particular command, and you cannot retain all this, you cannot remember all of this, so you can simply do what? Simply man date. So what it is do it what it will do, this command will give you the manual. Okay, the reference manual for your particular command. Okay, so when I did man date, it has given me this particular manual. So if you see, this is giving me a very big description about the command. Okay, and what else you can do with this particular command. Okay, so over here you can see this command, the manual pages are divided into sections. Your name, it is giving the description of the command, some synopsis over here, so some more description over here, and options over here. Okay, so which I was using right now. So over here every option and the details of this particular option is being given over here. Okay, so what does minus u do? Okay, and if you see, there is what, uh, a short form option and a long form option over here. Okay, there are some short form options over here and long form options over here. So the long form options uh, are identified with double dash, and short form options are identified with a single hyphen over here. And both, if you run all of this is going to return the same thing. Okay, so it depends upon the user, on the how you are entering the command over here. And some options over and some format control param sequences. So we can format the output, so like we did, like we used what percentage y. Okay, yes, over here it is. So if I have entered in my command percentage y in that text, so it is going to return the, over here it is going to interpret this as year, and it is going to return the year. And if I use, like I use small y over here, so it returned only the last two digits of the year. So there are many other format control sequences which can be used, and based upon that, let's say percentage d is going to return date in this particular format. First the month will be there, then date, then year. Okay, so there are many options which you can sorry, many control parameters which you can use over here. Okay, so and some examples are they shown over here, and some other more information about who has written this particular uh, manual. Okay, so over here you see this is a big manual. And coming to this synopsis part, so there are some things over here. You see, your command, it is telling you how to use this command. So there are some date, over here, this is a particular command which we have entered, and some things are in the square brackets over here. Okay, so anything inside these square brackets in the manual, it means that this content is optional with this particular command, and you can and it is up to you whether you want to give it as a part of the command or not, or you want to enter this uh, option as a part of the command or not. So anything inside the angle brackets over here, anything inside the angle brackets basically is mandatory. You cannot skip it. Okay, so if the manual shows you something like this, over here it is not, but if the manual shows something like this, it means you have to give uh, that option if it is there showing in the manual option. So so dot 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 over here means that more than one file names can be there. With this command it can take more than one file names. And there is one also a pipe character. Okay, so what does that mean? uh, there is also a pipe character. So what does that mean, this particular character? So if this is there shown in the manual page, so you must be able to interpret it. What is the meaning of this? So it says that with this particular command, okay, you any command can be there. So you can only execute minus a option or minus f option. You cannot give both the options at the same time. And it means that either command and command name and this particular option will run, or command name and minus f will run, but both of them cannot run simultaneously with this command. Okay, so this pipe basically tells you that either of the two will run, not the both of them. And you see, this manual is basically divided into some sections. It is divided into some sections. So so if you see, uh, there is a one over here, one written over here. Let me. So if I do man, I use minus k. Uh, let's say I'm using which command. This is also one of the command. This is like date is there. Uh, like date is there. This is also one of the command. So I'm using, I want to see the manual of for the which command with this particular option. So if I do this, so what it is doing, it is returning me the output that which lies, which this particular keyword lies in these particular sections. Okay, so basically your manual has different sections. Okay, it is divided into different sections. It means the manuals are available for different sections. So manuals are available for user commands, manuals are also available for system calls, manuals are also available for some library functions. Okay, uh, some manuals are also available for some device files, your special files, which your device is, for example, files that are found in /dev directory. Okay, and the configuration files, your, let's say, game section is there. Manuals for if you install some game, and they have some they provide you with some manual of their commands. So it will be there in this particular section. And some other sections are there for your file system, for some protocols, some file system layouts, character set standards. Okay, and the other some system management commands. For example, your mount command is there. So your manuals are available for different types of sections or your commands. It can be available for user command, system calls. So over here you can see that which is available in these sections, which is available in 8 section also, uh, in 1 section also, and 5, 6, and 1 also. So basically over here we are running the user commands. Right now we are running the user commands. So over here if I do what, man uh, man. So I can use this particular number over here from many of these sections, which one I want to run. So I will say simply man one which over here. So what will it do? It will return me the command manual for the command from this particular section, from section number one over here. And you can view this whole that this command is coming that from the user command, general command manual. Okay, from the user commands, the manual is there. It is this manual is coming from section number one, which is your user command section. Okay, and or we can say which to which section this manual belong to. In very brief, we want to. Okay, so you can you see this is a very big. Okay, okay, this is a very short one. So man so you see okay this manual is very long. Some manuals are very long, so you need you must know how to navigate in this particular manual. So they if you simply press enter from your keyboard, simply press enter. So what it is doing, I'm pressing enter right now, it is going one command at a time. Okay, one option at a time, downwards. Okay, so in this way you can browse or navigate this particular manual section. If you press space, if you press space, it goes one page at a time. I'm pressing space right now, it is going one page at a time. Okay, if you press small p for parrot, it goes to the top of the manual. Okay, it takes you to the top of the manual. And capital G, if you press capital G, it takes you to the bottom of the manual. We are right now, I pressed capital G, we are at the bottom of the manual. And if you press simply over here, it is writing Q to quit the manual. You have to quit the manual and return to your prompt. So simply press Q and you are out of your manual. You can exit your manual. Okay. Okay. So if you do again, let's say, and if you want to search within the manual, now this is a very big manual. Okay, let's say I want to search some particular keyword only. Okay, let's say I want to search. So for that you simply press forward slash. Okay, forward slash and the name of the keyword which you want to search. For example, you can press let's say month. I want to search all those things which are associated with month. So what will it do? It will highlight those things where your month is coming. So month is here. It is, you can have percentage M, percentage E for month, percentage D for month. And it is helpful in identifying quickly what are the options, what are the format control parameters or sequences you can use to modify your output. Okay, so only these options are using your month over here. So I believe man is clear to you all. Okay, so next command is calendar, cal, calendar. So if you simply press calendar, cal over here, so what it is going to do, it is going to return you the view of the calendar. Okay, so to view any specific calendar for a specific month, so right now simply pressed cal, it has returned me the calendar for this particular, for this current month. Okay, it has returned me the calendar for current month, that is August 2020 over here. So so you can give some options over here. Let's say I want a calendar for month number 8. This is August 2020. So this is your month and year 2020. So it has given me the same output over here. So same month has been returned. So this is 8 2020. If you do what cal 20 2020, so it says that okay, 20 is not a month, we have only 12 months. So what the shell has done, shell has interpreted this command and returned a message to you, given you a message to you that that this is a wrong input to this particular command. You need to give the right input. So shell is working, continuously working on this particular machine, and it is interpreting or whatever you are writing. So if I write hello students, so if I write anything, so it says that this is not a command. So so the shell is basically interpreting all of this. Okay, so you need to enter the right command. So we were discussing cal, so you can give 2020 as input. So it will give you the whole calendar for 2020. Okay, and if you don't want to, if you want to know the current year, it is cal minus y. So it is going to return the same output over here. Cal y also return 2020, the current year. Okay, so this is going to return the current year, the calendar for the current year over here. Okay, so you can, there are many other options. For example, cal uh, minus capital A, and let's say 2 2020. So it is going to display uh, the calendar for months after the current month. Okay, so if I do this, what I have given. So okay, so it is what it has, what I have given this input, that return me the 2 months after 2020. Okay, so after 2020, the 2 months, that will be what your January 2021 and February 2021. Okay, so basically it has returned the year 2020 after interpreting that your current year is 2020, and after 2020 we have the 2 months are January and February 2021. Okay, so you can do what, let's say you can give another input to it, 208. So I have given the month over here. Okay, I have given the month over here. So cal return me 2 months after the month of 08 2020. So what it is going to do, it is going to return me after the current month, that is your August 2020, it is going to return me 2 months, that is September 2020 and October 2020. Similarly, you can do minus a capital D. So it is going to return before August, 2 months. So let us say like this. So if I did, so before August 2020, we have July 2020 and we have June 2020. Okay. So in this way, you can format your commands. Okay. So now you see my terminal is already so much filled. So if I want to clear this, all of this, the command is clear. Okay. Simply clear, it will clear the terminal over here. Okay, there is another command. Let's enter something. Cal. Okay, my terminal is, there's another command, tput clear. So it is basically going to initialize your terminal and clear everything which is there on the terminal. So it is going to do the same thing, it is going to clear everything. Okay, so let us again enter something, cal 2020. So we have something, the short, there is also one shortcut. If you simply press control plus L. Okay, so control plus L, small l, has also cleared your terminal over here. So it works the same way. Okay, so to clear the command, clear the terminal, the command is clear. Okay, so next is we'll discuss some commands which start with, which starts with the W. Okay, so we are going to basically do some W's command, or the commands which start from W. Okay, so first one is uh, what is, what is command. Okay, so if I'm not aware of what this command is, any command is about, you want to know what this command do, so you want to know the description of this command, of a particular command, you can always do what is to know the very short introduction about that particular command. So if I want to know what is date, so what it is going to return me, that from the manual one section, the date basically give it has returned the output from manual section 1, that is for user command, and it has given me a very short info that it prints or set the system date and time, this command. So if I want to know what is cal, so I can have a small very brief introduction that it displays a calendar and the date of Easter, that is your I think related with Jesus Christ. Mhm. Search it. So yes, what is, let's say, some other command, let's say echo command. Okay, so it is going to return this a short description of it. Okay, we can also do man minus n date. Okay, so if I do this, okay, man also, the man minus f option, man minus f option, and the command name also returns the same thing what your what is does. It is going minus f option let's only to return the short description of the particular command. Okay, so what is command basically gives you the small introduction about the command is what that command does is. Okay, so uh, that you can do. Let me try. Okay, so what is, let's say, what using the minus w option over here of the what is command, I want to search all those commands that starts with wh, and this star is a meta character which basically tells that anything that follows that is followed by wh, return everything. It means anything. Star over here means anything, uh, that the keyword that any command that starts with wh and afterwards it can be anything. It can be this thing, it can be anything, but it must start with wh. Okay, so this option has returned me what? So you see, it has returned me all those commands over here, which are starting with wh over here. Okay, so this is another option which you can try. So next is your where is command. Where is, so where is command basically locates the binary source file for the particular command. So if I do where is date, okay, so what it is going to return, it is going to return me two things. So it is going to return me two things, one, and second is this thing over here. Second, second is this thing over here. So the first thing is that it is going to return me the location or the path over here, where the executables or your binary source for this particular command is located. So you can see when you do where is date, the date is being searched in the path and it has returned, the shell is going to search this command, uh, and it has will return the location that date is present in user directory and slash bin directory for binaries and slash date over here. It is lying here. And this particular, and second thing is it is going to return the manual page, that the where the manual section page files for that for this particular command is lying. So the manual section page is lying in the user share man directory man1, and there it is, the manual is lying over here. Okay, so where is basically return the binary source and manual for this particular section, for this particular command. Next is your which. Okay, so uh, so it shows, let's say if I do which date. Okay, So there can be scenarios that your executables are basically lying in multiple locations. The binaries for this uh, particular command can be in multiple location. For example, if I do which minus a option and date, okay, so what it is going to return, that return all the locations where date is. So which is returning that we have date command in user bin and date, and it is also lying in the binaries of the root folder also, okay, root directory also. So it is lying with the root also, it is lying with the particular user also, okay. So it is at both the binaries for this particular command are lying at these two locations, okay. And use when you do simply which date, it means that currently when you are going to execute date over here, if I do date over here, so this date, this particular date, from where it is running, so it is running from this particular location. So right now we are in the home directory where the user is user is user directory is there. So so your date is being present in the user slash bin and slash date. So we have multiple locations, and which date over here is going to show the full path of your shell command, okay, and will locate your executables in the system, okay. So Linux also allows you to run multiple commands in one sentence. So if I do which, let's say, and which date can uh, which which okay, okay, which is also one command. So this is the command name, and these are some input parameters over here. So I want to know where from the locations which date is shell, which command, uh, from which location the shell is basically running these commands. So right now shell is basically running date from this location, cal is running from this, and which command, this particular which command or is running from user bin which over here. So so this is how you can which, okay, we have done minus, okay. So there is another command which is type over here, okay, type. Let's say I do type uh, ls or echo, okay, echo. So what does it say? That echo is a shell built-in. So over here there is a concept of internal commands and external commands. There are some commands which are already built in the shell, and they are running from within the shell, okay. They are part of the shell uh, uh, shell program. And the when you type simply echo, it means that it is running from the shell. So 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 it is also returning me that what kind of command it is. It is a shell building command. If I write, let's say, type another command help, it is also a shell building, okay. Type date. So it says that date is running, date is basically indexed. It has been maintained in the hash tables which the shell is maintaining, and it has been hashed, and it is running from this particular location over here. It is running from user bin and date directory, bin user and bin directory. So date is running from slash forward slash user forward slash bin directory over here, okay. So type, let's say, and do ls. It says that ls is aliased to, so one command can be having we are referring one command, we know what is alias means, that one thing can have multiple names to it. So so basically in this part it says that ls command, when you type ls, it has been aliased to this particular command. So when you simply type ls, it is going to run in default mode with this particular option, that is your color is equal to auto, okay. So this, it is basically telling you what type of command it is. Okay, so type command is there, which we can do. Another W command is your who command, which is who. Who command. Okay, so if I want to know who logged in into my system, who is the user of the system, so I can do simply who command. Okay, so this is what we were talking about, that some commands uh, can run without options and with options. Like we have already learned that date we can run with options and without options. So simply if you do who, so it is going to return that this is the user who is uh, who has logged in into this terminal, and this user, just user, has logged in and has been assigned the terminal 0 over here. Okay, so if I add another terminal over here and do what who over here. Okay, so over here also just is working over here, and this user is working on basically terminal 0 over here, and over here it shows me the timestamp. Okay, the date and the time when this user uh, has basically logged in into this particular terminal. So when I started this terminal and logged in as a logged in into this system, so this is basically I am in my local machine over here, and right now the terminal is running locally on my machine, and this is 0. Had my terminal been on a remote machine or remote login, so over here some IP address must have been there, that this terminal for the remote login, the terminal is running on this particular address. Okay, or some remote location. Okay, so if you do who minus a, who minus a, so it is going to tell you what are the uh, how the system, you see all the details. It is going to return all the timestamps. Okay, so you see it is showing me when this particular terminal started. Okay, so you first of all the system booted. Okay, your system booted and it booted at this, on this timestamp, at this particular time point, 12:42, and we but this is again okay, the after the kernel of the operating system loaded at this timestamp, it started the first process, that is your run level, your init process, which selected the run level as 5 over here. What we were talking over here, these run levels, after the operating system kernel has been loaded, it is going to start the init process and it is going to select a particular run level, that is the state to which this operating system has to be loaded to. So right now the run level is 5, means the system has been loaded to what, a multi-user graphical user interface. Okay, I can have multiple users on this system, and the interface is graphical user interface. So this has been selected, and the timestamp was 12:43, and afterwards the user just logged in into this system. Okay, at terminal number 0 and at this particular timestamp. Okay, at this particular timestamp, and you see when the user has logged in, all of these are what, these are some processes. This is one process which has been followed. So when the user has logged in, it is also running as one of the process in the system. Okay, so all these so this 1268 basically gives you the process ID of all the users who are running as one of the process in the system, and the terminal number on which they are working. So if you do 2 minus h, okay, hyphen h, a, so it also gives you what, some headings over here. Okay, so it gives you the process ID associated with this particular process, this just process over here. Okay, so basically who basically gives you information related to your or your system boot process and login information. Who has logged in into, at what time point it has logged, he or she has logged. Okay. So right now, another is your who am I command. So this command basically prints who is the current effective user of this system. So we know that the prompt also gives this information, but who am I command also gives you the same thing, that just is the current effective user working on this particular system. Okay. So there is another command w, small w. Okay, you simply write w over here. It gives you some more information of the system, about the system. It shows you that what is the current timestamp, system time. Okay. And what is the how much time the system has been up. So we have been up for 1 hour 32 minutes, and there is only one user who has logged in into the system, and the average system load for past 1 minute, average system load for past 1 minute, 5 minutes, and 15 minutes have been given over here in terms of uh, uh, in terms of what is the, I think this is believe in units are in time over here, in terms of number of jobs maybe. I'll get back to this. So there are some the headings are there, so it gives you more information that just is the user, and he's working on terminal uh, number. uh, Name of the terminal is the user is using terminal number 0, and i- in case of remote login, the right now we are I'm working on my local machine, and from means that from which IP address or where the user has logged in. Okay, from where the user, so if some remote login would be there, so that IP address would be here. So at what time I logged in, by the how much time, idle time, the system, the CPU has been idle, the jobs, uh, the CPU is executing jobs, uh, whatever we are there on this terminal, for how much time, and the CPU has been executing the jobs, the user jobs. Okay. And the time, I believe this is also in seconds over here. So pCPU is basically the time used by the user current process, and what is the current process that is running. What represents the current process is your from the system user system library. GDM3 is basically running. So basically, it is your genome display manager, which is responsible for displaying all the graphical uh, environment in this Unix OS, is basically running right now, because we have loaded as a into a graphical user mode with a run level 5 over here. So GDM3 is running right now. So these are some W's commands which are there. Okay. The another is your uname. Okay. So if you simply do uname, it what does it do? It gives you the name of the kernel of the operating system. What is the which operating system or the kernel is basically running on this machine. So Linux kernel is basically running on this machine. So if you do some uname -a over here, it gives you some more information, all the information. So the Linux kernel is running on this particular machine, and this is the generic version which of the Linux, and the flavor which is the distribution. Sorry, your distro is Ubuntu, and SMP, I think multiprocessors. This the current is your multiprocessor system, and Friday, the current timestamp, and it is returning the UTC time time zone, and that okay, this is running on x86 Intel x86 64-bit architecture, and the version that of the Linux we are using is GNU, open source Linux we are using over here. So to know more about the kernel, the machine name, operating system name, you can use uname over here. Okay, so next is your clear. Let's clear it. So next is I want to know, next is your PS command. uh, I want to know what are the processes that are running, currently running in this system. So if I do simply uh, PS, so it gives me some information. So process is basically uh, a program under execution, or we can say some instance of a program which is being executed, and that is basically counted as a, or termed as a process. Okay, so any program under execution, or file under execution, it anything that is on your loaded into your main memory and your CPU is executing it, that program is basically your process over here. So right now, if you see, uh, if you see this, these are some we have been assigned process IDs. The current process that is running is your bash over here. So what does it say? That okay, the first process that is running over here is your shell. So bash shell is running over here. So it, so basically bash is what is a, bash is basically a shell. And shell is what? Shell is basically some program which, and that program basically uh, uh, is a command interpreter. It is going to interpret that command and give the, after interpretation it will give it to the kernel of the operating system for execution. And if you see, right now currently bash is running continuously. Your shell is running continuously on this machine. So we see that there are two processes that are running. So your shell is running, and your any other thing that you entered, okay, like you entered PS. So this is what, this is some command over here. This command has some executable file or binary file, and that when that file has been interpreted by the shell and loaded into the memory, and the kernel execute that file, so it is basically turned into some process. So anything is running by the CPU is basically process. So every process is assigned some ID over here. Every process is assigned a ID, and on which machine it is running. Okay, on which terminal it is running. So it is running on terminal number 0 over here. The bash is right now running on a terminal number 0. Okay, so and if you see, every process has been assigned an ID. It is very handy. Okay, you have your class till 2:40, Ayush. Don't we have this lab till 2:40? Yes, right. We have this lab till 2:40. I have this. I will discuss. No worries, beta. कोई बात नहीं. Okay. So this is a process, and you see every process is assigned some ID, and it is handy in knowing what which in let's say there is some situation in which uh, some process is holding up the resources, is taking as for example, we can consider that some process is executing and it is taking majority of the CPU time. So let us suppose the operating system decides to kill that process. So how to identify and kill that process? So it is these process IDs, with the help of these process IDs, it is handy to kill a particular process at some time point. Okay, so as per the need. So everything that I entered PS, so it is also running as one of the process over here. Okay, so uh, let's see if I add another process terminal is okay. So if you see, right now I'm having one terminal. If I add another terminal over here and do ps, okay, so what it does that ps now bash is running on another terminal 1, and bash is also running on another terminal 0 over here, and this command is also running as a process on terminal 0 and terminal 1. I can, if I create another terminal and do again ps, it is going to update the terminals over here. Okay, so this is basically you are creating multiple terminals and running your process. So you can run multiple programs in different terminals, and you are going to be the unique ID how to identify which PS is running. So the system is your operating system are going to identify these things. Okay, so you see the process IDs have been different now. Okay, the process IDs have been different every inside every terminal. Okay, these shell and these commands have been allocated different process IDs because they are running as different independent units. Okay, PTS is your pseudo terminal slave. Basically we are running this terminal uh, as a logical view of the terminal. There is no physical actual physical terminal connected to this machine. So if I connect a actual physical terminal, so this will be TTY slash some number. So right now I'm just creating a pseudo terminal. So I have a terminal running and I have created one slave over here, like I do. And from this terminal, some slave has been created, pseudo terminal slave, and it has been assigned a terminal ID 3 over here. Okay, so this is PS. If you do PS, let's say AUX. So if you see, you can see all the processes that are running on the, I simply did PUAUX, all users that are running right now. Okay, so all the user process, the processes from all the users from root and from the simple user also, they have been assigned some process ID, some CPU time, how much time they are taking, memory, uh, the bytes, how much bytes they are taking from the blocks, and the start time, at what time point these processes started running on this machine, and the command. And you see over here, init is the first process that has been assigned over here. It is the PID. This is what we were talking about over here, that init is the first process that runs. So if you see over here, init is running as is the first process that the operating system runs. Okay, beyond that, afterwards all other processes are running, all other some user processes are running, and some root processes are running. Okay, so if I also entered what PS AUX, so this is also running as one of the process on this particular terminal. Okay, so uh, this is so far your PS command, uh, which we have learned. So hopefully uh, you are able to uh, know how to run commands in Linux, and how to enter options, how to browse your manual pages, know the information about the users, and know some information about the kernel or your operating system, the what are the users at what time point, who logged in, where a particular command is. So we have learned some basic commands today. You have any questions so far? Yes. Have you understood? Hello, are you with me, guys?
Yes, sir.
Any queries so far? So have you tried installing Linux or not?
सर उसकी